Hey folks, so what we've got here is a baseboard heater. Looks like this. It was installed in the corner, and I'm painting the room, so in order to make a really nice neat line, I decided to just remove the two screws that held the heater on the wall. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. When I did that, I could see the insulation gone off, the outer sheath gone off the cable, and I could see the ground center conductor bare. Maybe it was a chafe, because there is a shower back here with piping, and I thought maybe you turn the water pipe on, or the water on or off, and the pipe moves, and maybe it chafed, but the insulation was chewed around the sides of the cable. So, you know, a chafe is not going to do that. A sheetrock saw to cut out a little extra piece of sheetrock here so I can peek in and see. And when I did that, I could find some insulation and a couple of mouse turds in there. But the second part of this video is going to be showing you how to repair this. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'll clean that area out, and then I'll pick the recording back up again in a minute. So I'm measuring from one hot line to the neutral, and I get 123 volts. So this is live. So if I licked that, if I was a mouse and licked that, I'd be getting a lift. So what I'll do is go and turn the breaker off. Okay folks, so I have several breakers out in the garage, and the breaker panel labeled heat, and they're all double breakers or 220 breakers, and that's exactly what I'd be looking for this heater. And since I don't know which is which, I just turn them all off. And now when I check, this is very difficult to do with one hand holding the camera, but now when I check, you can see that the voltage is half a volt, or basically zero. So I do have the heater turned off, and that makes it safe for me to work on. The other thing too, as much as this is kind of a unfortunate coincidence, I guess the glass half full side is I found it, and before it, you know, caused a fire or anything like that, or shock. And the other beautiful thing is, look at how much extra cable I have here. So I'll be able to cut this off and splice in new cable in there, and it'll be very easy. If this cable had been short, I would have been into a real problem. I would have had to chase it, hopefully get some additional cable from somewhere, or reposition the heater, or do something, because you can't have a junction in the wall. So next thing I'm going to do is remove that screw and then see what's inside. Okay, so first things first, take the cover off the back. Now we got a few wires here, and since I want to get clean wire, I'm going to cut out the chewed part. And in fact, if you ever wondered if you get your breaker shut off doing what I just did with side cutters, you'd find out, because there'd be a big spark. There's not a lot here. There's a ground line, and a hot line, and another hot line. You basically just untwist the cables that are there. They're twisted together. So now we're left with two black cables, which are your two hot lines, and a green cable, or green wire, which is your ground, of course. So we'll put the heater aside for a sec now that we get that prepared. Basically I got my black and my red stripped with the ground, and I've got my two blacks, which are the two hot lines going into the heater, and then a green common. So I'm basically going to twist the two hot lines to the black and the red, and the green one to the ground, and put the Marette connectors back on. May not have looked like it on the camera, but the two, you always twist the wires together first and then put the Marette connector. You don't rely on the Marette connector to actually cause the wires to twist. It may not have looked that way in the camera, but I did actually. There's quite a bit of memory in the wires that were on the heater, so all I really had to do was kind of gently, you know, line them up, and they actually coiled around the solid wire in the cable. So now that I've got those on there, you check each wire, see if you can pull any of the wires out of the Marette connectors, and I cannot pull them out, which is exactly what you want. And I'll hook the green one up. Again, lots of memory in this. I always find it funny that you use insulated Marette connectors to connect onto ground wires, because they don't need to be insulated. You're just trying to keep the connection together. The two hot lines coming from the cable, the black and the red, connected to the black, and the black going into the heater. The bare copper wire going into the green copper wire going into the heater. I'm going to tuck all this back inside and put the cover back on. Pretty easy. So this cover actually pinches on the wire and just holds it from pulling out, and the screw obviously holds the cover down, and the cover has to fit into a lip. Now, you did see me use an impact driver with this screw. I did not hold it on there, cranking it on there tight, because the screw only goes into sheet metal, and probably would be best to just use a Robertson screwdriver or a Phillips screwdriver. Actually, sorry, a Robertson or a standard is what this takes, but I don't happen to have one handy, so I was just careful with the impact drill. So now this is finished. The repair has been done, and I'm going to clean it inside the wall, and then I'll put the piece of sheetrock back, and I'll just set it in place. It doesn't need to be, you know, crack filled or anything like that. It's an interior wall. There really shouldn't be any drafts or anything like that because of it, and although I fully recognize that because there's blown in insulation here, that means that somehow the mouse got here from the attic. But anyway, I'm not going to bother trying to make that airtight. There are other air gaps in the whole wall, so no big deal. And there were two screws in there, but I don't know why, because that's not going to go anywhere. So I've only put one back in. Now the repair job is done. Okay, good luck with your do-it-yourself project.